Good morning, welcome to Stirling Castle. We are Drive Scotland. We're going to bring you some informative, insightful and hopefully entertaining car reviews on cars that we know you'll love. We're also going to showcase some of Scotland's best driving roads. Today we've got a Mini with three important letters, JCW. Let's check it out. So we've jumped into the car. We're just going to leave Stirling Castle. We've got a beautiful day ahead of us. We're going to go and check out some of the roads around about Stirling. We're going to head to a place called Doon first, but I'm going to take it slightly steady over these cobbles. Obviously a John Cooper Works Mini is sprung slightly stiffer than other Minis, but that all adds to the dynamics. The John Cooper Works name tells us that this Mini means business. We're in for sharper handling, more power and ultimately more fun. The Cooper Motor Company was founded by John Cooper in the 1940s. By the 1960s they were the go-to guys for motorsport prep, with extensive experience in IndyCars and Formula 1. They saw potential in this plucky little car and began development on a competition version. The reason the John Cooper Works is so special is it's just the most amazing fun to drive. Front wheel drive, as I say, 236 brake horsepower with around about 236 pound-foot of torque as well, so well matched. It's a 2 litre twin scroll engine, it's a BMW engine, but that then gives you kind of minimal turbo lag. So it does feel naturally aspirated, but the torque comes on nice and early. Now this is an automatic, you can get them in a manual. To be fair, the 8-speed ZF box is probably a gearbox to have to maximise the performance of the car. So yeah, that's probably what I have. The manuals are a bit notchy, if I'm being honest with you, and as I say, if you want to maximise the performance of the vehicle, you want to go for the automatic. The automatic has actually got a higher top speed as well. Not the 60, it's 6.3 seconds. It's ballistic for a hot hatch, and to be fair, between 200 and 300 brake horsepower and a front wheel drive chassis, you're not going to go any quicker at 60 than 6 seconds, because all the weight's just forced back, lifting the front of the vehicle up. What Mini have managed to achieve with this is they haven't got limit slip step, but they've got a brake-induced torque vectoring system in the front axle to minimise torque scare. So you can really hoof this mid-corner and it'll just manage the grip and the power and just spit you out the other side. It's a really impressive system. It's slightly heavier than a limit slip diff, but it's certainly more effective. Lowered suspension, bigger wheels, bigger brakes and a smart torque vectoring system managing the power delivery up front make this a serious bit of kit. The thing about Minis, they were always famed for having superior build quality to other hot hatches. That can sometimes be considered not the most important factor when you look at a hot hatch, because it's all about weight and kind of chassis and dynamics. But what Mini, through the help of BMW, managed to do is get really high quality interior plastics that have got a nice soft touch, a nice grain feel to them, and if you scratch them, they're all pretty robust to the touch, which makes a big difference when you're spending close to £30,000 for a spec'd up automatic version. If you look at maybe a Clio or a Megane, Megane's a bit bigger than this, or certainly the Golf GTI, you're in the Golf GTI territory. All very well made cars, but what the Mini has is it's a lot more quirky. It's certainly a bit smaller than a Golf GTI, and the chassis is very, very good. It's not a light car, 1,300 kilograms for the automatic, thereabouts, but it's not a great deal heavier than maybe say the Clio variant at 1,205 kilograms, so it's not bad. But you've got fantastic road holding, fantastic quality feel, it's very refined. With it being an 8-speed auto, you can do 70 odd mile an hour on the motorway. In fact, let's get up to 70 mile an hour. I'm in 8th gear now. I'm at 1900 revs. The car's barely working. That's going to give you around about 40 odd to the gallon. They quote something like 46, but real world you're going to get about 42 to the gallon, which for a car that can give you quite a big thrill when you press on, that's very, very good. So I'm not the smallest of chaps, I'm 6 foot, but I can sit very comfortably, and the good thing about Minis is you can get as low as possible in the car. You've got these very supportive half leather, half Alcantara seats, and the John Cooper Works gets the red highlights inside, so it really feels a quality piece of kit. But you can get nice and low. The steering wheel is about 360mm across, it's tiny, but it needs to be. This is meant to be a go-kart. Mini position this as a go-kart. So we've pulled over, let's have a look at the exterior of the car and see how it differentiates from the rest of the Mini range. The John Cooper Works gets a standalone front bumper, much bigger air intakes, a much more aggressive front end. You've got this air intake up top, which with this model is actually blanked off. That was on the original Cooper S, and therefore the John Cooper Works. They've kept the style of it, but they've closed it off. Far side vent actually feeds the brake ducting for those 4-pot Brembos we were talking about. The arches have got this little lip on them, just to give you a wee bit more. Now that's obviously for legislations because you've got a wider track at the front and the back, and that's going to stop spray coming up. This car is obviously on the 18s as opposed to the 17s. The 17s are the standard wheel, and I think they're actually a better looking wheel, and they will give you a bit more traction in this country, but the 18 is probably the way to go for in terms of residual value and potentially aesthetics. Nice red calipers tying in nicely with the red stripes and the red contrast roof. John Cooper Works badge on the side, chrome details on the handle and the filler cap. That's harping back to the original kind of Monte Carlo days when you were filling up the car mid-stage with the jerry can. The back wheels are tucked in quite nicely, but it does make it a lot more stable. Round the back, you've got the twin exhausts in the centre. Now this car is a standard Mini John Cooper Works exhaust, however, the current owner may have done a bit of trickery to the resonator, so it does sound really, really fresh. And what about this colour? Rebel green. Now these cars you usually see in black, white, dark grey, but a rebel green one, such a rare colour. Really nice with the red, and also just harping back to that historic Mini heritage. Talking about heritage, why do you think I've parked the Mini at the bottom of this rather unassuming driveway? This is the start line of one of Scotland's oldest motor racing venues, the Doon Hill Climb. At 0.8 of a mile long, it's hardly the Nürburgring, but you cannot ignore the similarities. The ribbon of tarmac snakes its way up through the trees, scarcely wide enough for a car. It's lined with unforgiving Armco barriers and blind corners. It demands respect, but rewards bravery, with the current record standing at a mightily impressive 34.7 seconds. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed our chat on the Mini JCW. We've been Drive Scotland. We hope to bring you many more videos. If you like what you see, please subscribe and like and share with your friends. I'm going to try and take this up the road for a quick run up the hill climb. You think I'll get in trouble?